Umamusume is one of the best sports anime to come out in recent years. And no, it's not just the animation carrying it. It meets all the hallmarks of a great sports anime. Emotional character arcs, hype action sequences, the power of friendship, even the zone. But the most important part of any sports anime is, of course, the intense homoerotic subtext. And let me tell you, Umamusume does not disappoint. That's why today we're going to be ranking every season in a tier list based only on how Yuri-ful it is. Let's get into it, starting off at the very bottom, D tier, where we have Umamusume Pretty Derby Road to the Top. Now this one might be in last place, but remember, this is Umamusume. There's gonna be a lot of Yuri either way. Road to the Top centers on the trio of Narita Top Road, Admire Vega, and TM Opera O. But the most prominent ship featured is probably Top Road x Admire Vega. And there's a decent amount of material to go off of. At one point, Ayabe literally says to Top Road, "Whenever you get close, I start losing sight of the stars." Like, what does she even mean by that? But let's be honest here, when was the last time you actually saw someone shipping these two? I swear even Curren-chan x Ayabe is more popular, and Curren gets like 5 seconds of screen time. I think the main problem here is just that Road to the Top focuses so much on Ayabe's struggle with survivor's guilt that it barely leaves room for anything else. The way they portray her worsening mental state is so concerning that you start to think she doesn't need a romance, she needs therapy. The short running time doesn't help at all. 4 episodes is barely enough time to tell a coherent story, much less fully develop character relationships. So unfortunately, Road to the Top is gonna have to go in D tier. Moving on to C tier, our first entry is gonna be Cinderella Gray. Now I haven't read the manga, so I'm just going off what's in the anime. Cinderella Gray swaps the cutesy slice of life vibe of previous seasons for more focus on racing and aura farming, which naturally leads to fewer openly affectionate interactions between characters. That's not to say that there's less potential for Yuri though. Oguri Cap x Tamamo Cross, aka Ogutama, is still a great ship. A gold ship, if you will. But to me, they just seem more like close friends and rivals, especially when you consider Oguri's personality. Oguri is the closest thing you'll get to an actual horse in Umamusume. She has nothing in her head except running and food. Well, you could argue that she considers Tama a kind of food too, but I digress. It's just hard to see her being interested in romance, at least not the version of her we see in Cinderella Gray. The one thing that puts it above Road to the Top is the relationship between Super Creek and her trainer, Fumino Nase. Now if you've played Creek's career in the game, you'll quickly see that it's one of the more romantic ones. So by giving her a female trainer, they've effectively turned it into Yuri. Fumino is nicknamed the Prince for her cool demeanor, and at one point she tells Creek she'll make her into Cinderella. If that isn't a marriage proposal, I don't know what is. And just look at how she loses her composure whenever Creek praises her.
Aww. So cute!
So just because of them, we're putting Cinderella Gray a tier higher in C. C for Cinderella Gray, of course. Next up is the movie Beginning of a New Era, aka Bone. Now, Poketaki is my absolute favorite ship in the entire franchise, but I'll try my best to tone down the bias for the video. Unlike basically every other major Uma pairing, Jungle Pocket and Agnes Tachyon never cheer each other on or act like best friends. Instead, Tachyon almost plays the role of an antagonist in this movie, which is a first for Umamusume. But that's exactly what makes it the perfect setup for rivals to lovers, maybe even toxic Yuri depending on how you look at it. Poke is absolutely obsessed with Tachyon, and the entire movie is built on her obsession. She was genuinely screaming Tachyon's name in the middle of the race. I don't think any other Uma has done that in the history of the franchise. Tachyon, meanwhile, acts like she's totally unbothered, but we get to see her true feelings near the end of the film when she realizes that she's going to be left behind. In the end, it's Jungle Pocket who brings her out of her depressive spiral and inspires her to come back to running. And the whole scene here is just so good, you guys. This is why I love Poketaki. The only thing is, most of the ship lives in the tension rather than outright romantic moments, which I personally love, but it might be part of why Taki Cafe is more popular overall. So I'm gonna have to put it in C tier, even though I wish I could put it in B. B for Beginning of a New Era, of course. Now onto the actual B tier, here's where things start getting good. The first entry is Pretty Derby Season 3. The main pair this season is Kita-san Black and Sato no Diamond, a wholesome childhood friends relationship. There's even one episode where they're just on a cute little date the whole time. But to be honest, I just don't think they have a lot going for them. You could easily interpret their relationship as just close friends with little to indicate more. aside from the fact that they sleep with plushies of each other. I don't know what's up with that. But let's address the elephant in the room. There was absolutely zero reason for her to be doing all that in the middle of the race. This was without a doubt one of the most Yuri-coded moments in all of Umamusume and almost single-handedly pushes the rank up to B. The only problem is, that's kind of all Season 3 has. Cheval Grand's entire character arc begins and ends in this exact episode. So just when the Yuri starts getting interesting, it's already over. And it's not just Cheval. None of the rivals introduced this season get enough focus to really develop good relationships. They had so much potential but ended up with nothing. Duramente, Sounds of Earth, even Satono Diamond suffers from this, and she's supposed to be the second MC. So while Season 3 has one of the strongest moments in the entire series, one scene can't carry an entire season, and for that I can't put it higher than a B. Next up is the season that started it all, Pretty Derby Season 1. As the most cute girls doing cute things-esque entry in Umamusume, it's natural that Season 1 has a lot of Yuri vibes, with the main pair being Special Week and Silent Suzuka. It's the classic dynamic where one of them idolizes the other so much that it starts becoming kinda gay. They're also roommates, which makes for some adorable moments. For Special Week, it's love at first sight. She's Suzuka's #1 glazer, and her attachment only gets stronger after Suzuka's injury. It gets to a point where she can't talk about anything aside from Suzuka, which even starts to annoy the other characters, Grass Wonder being one of them, who may or may not be a little jealous. It takes the trainer's intervention to get her to stop worrying about Suzuka all the damn time. But don't think this is a one-sided crush. Suzuka cares about Sped just as much. Seriously, just listen to the sheer amount of love and warmth in Suzuka's voice every single time she says Special Week's name.
Sped-chan! Sped-chan! Sped-chan!
So cute!
Though I have to wonder if the reason Sped loves Suzuka so much is that she looks like a carrot. And we all know how much Special Fatty loves carrots. Either way, Season 1 earns itself a solid B tier. It might not be the most exciting or dramatic, but it laid the foundation for basically every other Uma pairing that came after it. Also, it gets extra points because Scarlet and Vodka are in it. Now going in A tier is Umayuru. Yes, the chibi series Umayuru. It's kind of a bonus pick, but if you watched it, I think you'll understand why I put this here. Some of these episodes had my jaw on the floor with how blatant the Yuri is. The biggest standouts for me were Episode 7, Winning Over Sirius, and Episode 23, Shall We Derby. The entirety of Episode 7 is just Sirius Symboli flirting with an oblivious Vodka. Take a look at how insane this is.
諦めの悪いやつは嫌いじゃねえ。しょうがねえ、認めてやるよ。私の新しいおもちゃとしてな。
お？
退屈させんなよ。
The only explanation I can think of for how Vodka didn't fold immediately is that she's too loyal to Scarlet. Episode 23 is even more Yuri-ful if you can believe it, with Agnes Digital playing some kind of VR dating game featuring the Symbolis. Yes, it's Sirius Symboli again. They're all trying to rizz her up, but in the end, Digital declares that she wants them to dance with each other, not her, in true otaku fashion. And I think the concept of this episode alone speaks for itself. There are many more examples in this series, but I'm not about to go over all of them. So definitely watch it for yourself if you haven't already. It's only a few minutes per episode, so what's there to lose? All I have left to say is, Umayuru? More like Umayuri. Finally, we've made it all the way to the top, S tier. And there's only one entry left, so of course, the most Yuri-ful Umamusume anime of all time is Pretty Derby Season 2. And honestly, it wasn't even a close competition. Also, there will be major spoilers for Season 2 in this section, but if you haven't watched it already, what are you even doing with your life? Season 2, in my opinion, is the season that executes the whole friendly rivalry concept the best. It features Tokai Teo and Mejiro McQueen, two horse girls with totally different personalities, but somehow, they just work together perfectly. The anime doesn't just tell you that they're friends, you get to see their bond deepen and evolve over the course of the anime. What I love most about them is the role reversal that happens later in the season. The first part of the season focuses on Teo's struggle with multiple injuries and setbacks, and when she loses sight of her dream, McQueen offers to become her new motivation, becoming Teo's guiding light. And when Teo finally decides to come back to racing after 3 fractures, we get to see the most Yuri-ful episode in the whole anime, Season 2, Episode 11. Cygames wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. They knew what they were doing. The episode is about Teo trying to say thank you to McQueen, and McQueen literally says to Teo's face that she's acting like she's about to confess her love. But what happens in the next episode changes everything. McQueen is diagnosed with an injury that will prevent her from running ever again, leaving her devastated. And this time, it's Teo's turn to become McQueen's motivation. After hearing about the situation from the butler, Teo runs to find McQueen in the rain and promises to prove to her that miracles can happen. The anime itself reflects this dynamic shift by swapping the singing parts in the ending, which is a pretty cool detail. Neither of them is complete without the other, which makes the fact that they will never be able to run together all the more tragic. Thankfully, this is Umamusume, so they do get a happy ending, and I can only assume they get married off screen. But let's just say, for whatever reason, you're not a big fan of Teimaku. Like, maybe you prefer Gold Chip X McQueen, which is totally fair. Boom! Miho Rice! We got 2 Yuri hydrogen bombs in the same season! Seeing Mihona Bourbon interact with Rice Shower is like watching your daughter get married. It's just so wholesome. Also, Daiteku Helios exists. Season 2 really has everything, doesn't it? So here's my final tier list. Let me know in the comments if you agree with my ranking, and if not, how you would rank the seasons instead. Also, please tell me if I forgot to mention anything. Thank you so much for watching!